me, what do Warcraft, Detective Pikachu, both Sonic films, and the Super Mario Bros. Movie all have in common? Well, not much, except for the fact they are unabashedly unashamed of the fact that they're video game films, go out of their way to give fans of the respective franchises what they want in almost every instance, and do not care one iota about political or social pandering to make ESG scores and individuals on a certain particular side of the aisle incredibly happy. And you know what? Shame on them. I can't believe they would do that. That's why all those movies failed and are not loved by the fans of those respective franchises. And damn Five Nights at Freddy for doing the exact same thing. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and that's right, Five Nights at Freddy's is a resounding success, both amongst fans and at the box office. But now we are seeing articles, we're seeing the shill media go out of its way to try and destroy Five Nights at Freddy's. Article after article, hit piece after hit piece, including some flat out telling you to not go see the movie. We're going to go ahead and talk about this. We're going to get into it. We're going to read some articles, look at the box office numbers, look at the Rotten Tomato scores. I know you guys have probably seen this because, let's be honest, the movie's been out for a few days and it's been all over the news, but I want to really drive home to you. There are articles out there flat out telling you not to watch it despite the fact that fans are loving it. And if that doesn't say everything you need to know about modern media and what happens to movies that don't play the social political game, then I don't know what will. So before we get into it, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We got less than 300 left to go, so we're really looking to do so. I mean, that's 150 each in the next 2 months. We got this. Hit that button and let's get into the Five Nights at Freddy's news, shall we? Five Nights at Freddy's had Peacock's biggest ever launch. But it's bad. Watch these 4 horror classics on there instead. The most horrific thing about Five Nights at Freddy is the reviews. Check out these much more compelling thrillers and frighteners instead. I mean, they're out here. They're taking a film that has an 88% score on Rotten Tomatoes from the fans. You know, the people that are the paying customers, the people the movie was made for, and they're saying, nope, this movie's bad. Trust the critics. Trust the critics that have been caught being paid for positive reviews. Don't forget, that was only a thing like a month ago. Wipe that from your memory. Come on, consume, but don't consume things unless they give you, again, political and social pandering. It's absolutely bananas that they want you to just absolutely ignore the fact that this movie, this video game film, is doing what recent video game films have done and actually give the fans what they want. Horror movies don't always get great critical receptions, but even by those standards, the Five Nights at Freddy movie, which is available to stream on Peacock, is getting an absolute shooing from the reviewers. Buttered Popcorn calls it a monstrous mess, The Independent calls it generic horror movie sludge, and Double Toasted says they don't have anything for 2 hours, much less 5 nights. That is the equivalent of the famous Saturday Night Dead, tagline that every single individual, every single journalist in the 90s used when SNL was supposedly on the downswing, despite the fact that some of the biggest and most memorable stars from Saturday Night Live came from that era. Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Norm Macdonald, that whole era. But yes, Saturday Night Dead. That's what we're getting for Five Nights at Freddy's. And does anyone really care what The Independent calls it? Because we all know The Independent ain't independent. It's only fair to note that one team member at Tech Radar loved the movie, but the others in our group who saw it did not. However, it's been a massive hit for Peacock, giving the streamer its best movie launch numbers to date, beating the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And that's the thing, this film, not only did it give Peacock the biggest numbers that it has ever gotten on an opening film, this movie released day and date also in the theaters and destroyed any and all box office projections. I mean, it absolutely killed it. This movie was made on a $25 million budget, and just opening weekend alone made $75 million. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that. We're going to cover the box office in a little bit, but I just want to really illustrate the fact that even with a free option on Peacock, and even with apparently it being massively popular because it is the biggest opening movie on Peacock ever, it still had an insane box office opening. But the truly terrible 27% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, this is clearly one to avoid if you're not a fan of the franchise. It's one to avoid if you're not a fan of the franchise. So basically, oh, they did this movie for fans. How dare they? Why would you make a movie for the target demographic? The fans, the people that would buy the product. Like, this is where the media's head is at. These are the same individuals. Like, this isn't the same outlet, obviously, but the same mindset of the individuals I covered in my recent Sonic the Hedgehog video, where they were actively saying for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 to go against the source material. Do you guys not remember that Sonic 1 and 2 have been box office successes? Isn't that something you want to see continue? You want to see American films actually, make money at the box office? Because we all know nothing coming out of Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, their various remakes, that's all not doing it. So yeah, I like it when good movies make money, and doing that, when you're going to adapt something, sticking to the source material is part of it. But no, it's a bad thing when you do something for the fans, at least according to Tech Radar, because Tech Radar is such a memorable and bastion of journalistic integrity, especially since Peacock has such a rich catalog of much better movies. So here are 4 brilliantly horrific thrillers and thrilling. Now we're not going to actually go through the movies. I just wanted to illustrate the fact that, again, they're saying that making something for the fans is bad. This is bad unless you're a fan of the franchise. So we're sitting on Rotten Tomatoes, 28% from 162 reviewers. Now, let's go ahead, let's take this, let's look at top critics, and it goes down even lower. Top critics, 22% score. It's abysmal. But guess what? This is a film that Five Nights at Freddy's fans, the general audience, this has got over 1,000 verified ratings. Now, I can't pretend to really be a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. I've never played a Five Nights at Freddy's game, and about the time this started exploding in popularity, I couldn't understand the hype. This to me looked like it was for children that were too pansy to play Resident Evil, and I have maintained that mentality for the last decade or so. That being said, I can't deny it's a cultural phenomenon. I mean, it's right up there with things like Minecraft and Fortnite that people just who grew up on YouTube, that they absolutely love if they were introduced to it at a young age. It makes sense that there's an audience for it, and with over 1,000 verified ratings, people that, according to however Rotten Tomatoes does its verification process, 88%. That is a phenomenal, for a video game movie, really for a movie in general, a phenomenal score. When you go to all audience, it gets higher, 91% out of 25,000 ratings. So 1,000, 25,000, and it goes up. It goes even higher, 4.4 out of 5 stars. But these news media, the articles, they're telling you to stay away from this movie because, 32 top critics didn't like it? Because 162 total critics didn't like it? Are these the people you want writing and you want to be listening to and actually taking seriously? Now, if you're watching my channel, obviously you're not taking individuals like that seriously because we don't over here, and that's why you like my insight, and that's why you like the insight of individuals like me, because we're able to sit here and take this apart and realize, hey, I'm all for giving the fans what they want, even if it's not something that I personally am interested in. I don't give a damn about Five Nights at Freddy's. I am very happy, on the other hand, that Five Nights at Freddy's fans are getting what they want here. I could not care less about Doctor Who. Full disclosure, I don't give a damn about Doctor Who, but it absolutely pains me to see Doctor Who fans getting just shat all over when it comes to what's going on with them in the recent 5 years or so, because it's happened to me with things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and comics in general. It's happened to me with Star Wars. It's happened to me with these nerdy endeavors that I love so much. And yeah, while I love the fact that it's happening to Star Trek fans, because Star Wars supremacy, jokes aside, it sucks to see that happening to Star Trek fans. It sucks to seeing it happen to Whovians. It sucks to be a Supernatural fan and actively watch that show get worse with everything after season 5. So I'm glad that Five Nights at Freddy's, look, those fans, they got it right on their first try. That is tremendous. Don't get your hopes up, Five Nights at Freddy's fans. If we let things stay the way they are, they're gonna come for you next, and eventually these sequels, they're gonna get some race swaps, they're gonna get some unnecessary representation that doesn't need to be there. No, we gotta fight to keep stuff like this pure and maintain it to the source material. And if there's woke stuff in the source material, look, complain about the original source material, but at least they're, making something accurate to said source material instead of forcing and changing a bunch of propaganda stuff that wasn't there beforehand. But I also really don't want to undersell how well this movie did in terms of the box office. So again, it had a $25 million budget. Now you guys know how to do the math. Just because a movie has a budget, once it makes its budget back, it hasn't actually made its budget back, or definitely hasn't made a profit. So you got $25 million here. Okay, well then you got to take marketing into effect. Marketing is usually about the same cost as the budget on average. So boom, we're up to 50 million. So this movie has to make 50 million to make its budget back, right? Well, wrong again, bucko, because then you got to factor in the theater cut. Now, the theater cut is roughly 40% for domestic box office, 60% for international. That puts these numbers somewhere between 65 and 75 million is what it needed to break even. Well, guess what? Opening weekend alone, it made $78 million, and that is with it also being available on Peacock. You guys need to understand how bananas, I know I keep using that word, but it is incredible that that is what happened. It made $78 million opening weekend when you've got the Marvels, one of the flagship Marvel franchises, yeah, flagship, because no one cares about the MCU nowadays. It's projected to have at most a $55 million opening weekend, and that movie, it's got to be a $230 million budget at the minimum, and that's if we're not accounting for reshoots and things of that nature, also not accounting for the marketing. So $230 million million budget, it's a projected opening of $55 million on the high end. Whereas you got 25 mil here, and then you got, marketing budget, the whole nine, 75 million. It breaks it, plus a little bit extra opening weekend. And now, here we are. I'm recording this on Wednesday evening, technically really early Thursday morning. It's 12:21 a.m. my time. And we're sitting at a worldwide box office. Let's refresh this to see if it's changed. There we go. $149 million worldwide, and internationally $60 million, domestically $90 million effectively. We can do a little bit of rounding. We got $90 million at the domestic box office, and that just means Monday and Tuesday numbers, because I gave the numbers on my live stream on Monday that was through Sunday. So on Monday and Tuesday, it added another effectively $11 million just on one day, when it was also free streaming and Halloween night. Also, I don't remember what the international budget was on Sunday or Monday when I did my live stream, but the point is, it's probably made some of the international market as well. Now, is this movie going to have much more legs? I don't know about that. I mean, it's a horror movie and it's based on a video game. Halloween's over. I don't know if it's going to grow a whole lot more. Like, we're definitely not, in my opinion, going to see Mario Bros. Movie numbers where it hits like over $1 billion. That's not going to happen. But at the end of the day, 150 mil when they needed 75 to break even, boom, they've doubled. They've doubled their profit. They broke even, then made an additional 79 million on top of it. Insta success. You cannot say in any world that wasn't a success. And it just goes to show that my theory that video game movies are the next big thing. Superhero movies are out, video game movies are in. That means we're probably going to get a lot of crappy video game movies and TV shows coming out. I mean, don't forget, we got God of War. We got the Phoebe Waller-Bridge Tomb Raider coming out. That's going to be great. Then there's stuff that's a little bit, under the radar, but still coming. We got Amazon doing Fallout, and I have a little bit more hope than that than I do, like, Amazon's God of War, as mentioned earlier. That said, I'm going to repeat what I said on my live stream Monday. We've already had a live-action Fallout. It was called Book of Eli. That was all we really needed. But you know what? If you're going to do Fallout, then go for it. Just do what Five Nights at Freddy's did. Do what Sonic did. Do what the Super Mario Brothers did. Honor the source material and do not put these strange, weird, ideological, pandering things in your project, and people will love it. We do not want another Halo. We want another Warcraft, and I get it. A lot of individuals slept on Warcraft because that is super niche, especially compared to something like Sonic or Pokemon, or yes, even in this case, Five Nights at Freddy's. But in terms of it being lore accurate and source material accurate, it's a very well done movie, and it made a good amount of money in China. There's been talks about a sequel for a while. Point is, Warcraft, at least it catered to its audience, which is all you can ask, is that it be true to its audience, and the audience will respond. Talk to any Warcraft fan, most of them will tell you they enjoyed the movie, and that's what you should be doing. If you're going to be taking these large international IPs that are known the world over, they're known the world over because they have a core fan base. One Piece is a great example of that. One Piece on Netflix is known as the anime or the live action show that broke the anime curse, because it really is probably the first American anime production that's actually done what no other has done and been good. It really shouldn't be that difficult to learn, but we're gonna have to see if that's how things are maintained going forward. But Five Nights at Freddy's, the box office, it is fantastic, and the shill media wants you to wipe that from your memory. How people at this point can actually believe that, oh no, they're giving us honest reviews, is mind-boggling to me. After the proof coming out about Rotten Tomatoes having paid for positive reviews, after the news coming out with things like, South Park, the Pandaverse, and the absolute destruction, the fact that it's now commonplace and mainstream to hate on Kathleen Kennedy, things that we were being called racist, sexist, homophobic bigots for doing a few years ago, it is now mainstream popular to do. It makes me wonder, I put it on Twitter, I wonder what they're going to start calling us, sexist and homophobic bigots for criticizing next, and I think it should be Pokemon. I've been criticizing Pokemon for a while, and I haven't been called a racist homophobe in quite a bit, unless you look at my YouTube comments. So yeah, let's make that the next big one that you just can't attack unless you're some sort of istophobe. I think Pokemon should be the next target because we need to bully Pokemon into being good again. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at BoltTheWord. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I come at you with nerdy news almost every day, and I'm trying to make that 2,000 subscriber mark before the end of the year. We are almost there, less than 300. I think you can do it. Hit that button, and do not let the shill media tell you that you are wrong for enjoying things or keep you from spending your money on things that are actually made for you, the fan, because you, the fan, you have the power. You get to vote with your wallet, just like you did for Five Nights at Freddy's, and you'll love to see it. But until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.